speaking of kicking some butt,
Good segue.
Ben is running late, but he said to start without him. I don't think it will be too detrimental to do so. So I'll go ahead and get us kicked off here. So last we left our heroes. We had left the sewers of Edmée with some interesting artifacts, some interesting information. The party came back together next morning. A little bit of divide and conquer going on. We had some of the party going to the School of Magic, and others going up to Professor's room after he woke up the next morning to Jeffrey going through his journal, which is effectively his spell book, and eating the pages. So that was fun. Professor not having a great day. Kind of got the I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed from the headmistress about losing his spell book and not having a backup. But we got some additional information, and I believe the party was coming back together after having split for momentarily for the morning. So I will. Oh, Arby! I gotta get Arby. So I will bring us back to Edmée, where morning has come. Our heroes. I'm sorry, Moonhaven. That's where we're at. We're in Moonhaven. Wow. Uh, where our heroes had gone separate ways a little bit this morning, but are coming back together. You still have the space available to you at the Siren Song. If you are still looking to make use of that, you were making some plans on what to do, where to go next. There are also some items that you had picked up that you had not quite had the chance to read through yet, and I believe that Narco has suggested and Nessa had agreed to allow you use of the library to read such materials, if that's what you aim to do. So here we are back in Moonhaven. It's the morning. Uh, what are you guys up to?
I like that we all decided to just wait and see how long it would take him to stop talking like a robot, but didn't quite make it there.
Yeah.
I understood everything he was saying, so.
Yeah, it was just very quiet.
God damn it.
You're fine now.
Great. Do I need to repeat anything?
No. I heard you through the cup and string just fine.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Um, yeah, after running the errand at the school and returning back to the Siren Song to collect Professor, would Narco would remind everyone that we did want to make use of the library for looking over those strange and possibly important books that had been squirreled away by Temerity.
So the question is, do we want to take some time to do that now, or do we want to move on to the next thing and return to it another time?
You're
No, we should
questioning if we should do
definitely
research now?
There are more pressing research items on the list. Well, I guess that's a matter of opinion, but leave that to the group.
Merity seems to be a linchpin in most of these actions. I would like to see what she was looking into.
if we're currently trying to point our compass towards the next destination where we can get the most value, it behooves us to understand what exactly Temerity's goals were. We may uncover something that we had not considered previously. Does not need to be an exhaustive, week-long research project. Just a day to look through the books and understand their core contents. If even that, we might be able to leave before sunset.
All right, well, let's meet up with everybody and make a plan here. We have, how many books are we looking to get through here? At least 2, right? Some more?
There were 2 books.
2 books.
Jade has the one, and you have the other.
Okay, 2 books split between a party of some decent academic heavyweights. I think we can make that work.
Right, book report. Let's do this.
To the library, then?
To the library.
Apologies, I may have missed something. You guys are having this conversation before you come back?
No, we're back. Everyone's here.
Yeah, we're all together.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking while you were still at the academy yourself.
Nope, because we needed to come back to grab the other book.
Yep.
So, our party returns to the Siren Song, gathers the remaining books and their remaining companions, back off to the School of Magic, heading towards the library. Professor, I would like to know, when you return to the Siren Song to gather your things, what are you doing with Jeffrey?
I think when we arrive and meet back up with everyone, he'll inquire as to how he's doing and what's going on up there. Is he still eating things? Is he angry? What's the story with Jeffrey right now?
Is he asking Jade and
Yes.
Aura? Okay. Sorry, I don't know if you're asking Jade and Aura or just Jeffrey himself. Like, did you keep eating stuff while I left? So Jade will meet the professor outside of his room, and she'll say, he's okay. He's eating a little bit. He had a lot of bacon. I seemed to enjoy that, but he was really kind of staring forlornly out the window most of the time. I don't think he really knows how to process what happened when you tried to burn the spell page.
Right.
I don't know if he thinks you did it on purpose, or if he's just kind of scared that you'll do something like that again. Not that it was your fault, but I don't think he can really understand that. He wanted me to hold on to the page.
Professor kind of stares at her for a moment longer and says, "And do you want to hold on to the page?"
I don't know. Holding onto the page the first time, I know that I'm able to cast the spell. I don't need the spell in my possession to do it. It's just there. So
Nods.
holding onto the page, is it going to change that? But if it helps you and Jeffrey, I will hold on to it. I could just put it in my bag.
He nods and he will pull the page out of his jacket pocket and he says, "If you feel anything new as a result of coming in contact with this, let me know, please."
She just nods. Of course. I told Nariko right away the first time. I won't hide it if something else happens. I promise.
Excellent. And he'll hand it to her and he says, I haven't taken the time to really talk to Jeffrey since the incident, so perhaps just having a heart-to-heart will be just what the doctor ordered.
I don't think it could hurt. I mean, I don't think he thinks you're going to hurt him. I think he's just scared that it might happen again. Aura and I did try to tell him that you were really sorry and that you were trying to protect him all this time down the sewers, but it's hard to come from us, you know.
Yeah, I suppose that should come from me.
Yeah.
Right.
Go talk to him. I'm gonna get Aura and I all our stuff up. I'm gonna go get the books that you said you wanted, and we're gonna go to the library.
Oh, yes, the library. Here,
Okay.
take mine. Maybe you could get a head start, and he'll hand her his book.
Okay. Well, I mean, we don't have to leave without you. I can just let everyone know downstairs that we're coming.
Well, I don't want to hold you up. Hopefully this shouldn't take too long, but I haven't really had the type of I'm sorry, let's be friends type of talk with a voidling before. So who knows how long this could take?
Have you had that talk with anyone?
Oh, yeah. Not someone with tentacles, but sure.
It's probably the same. I think I've never had an I'm sorry, we're friends with a tentacle person either.
Well, first time for everything. And he'll take that moment and walk in. And Joe, if you want to go ahead with the other side, I'll be right back for 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Kate will head down to everybody else.
All right. Sorry, I kind of lost the conversation for a second there. So was he bringing out?
Jeffrey's still out. He's been out. He's gonna go talk to him in his room and have a basically I'm sorry moment with Jeffrey.
Okay.
Jade took his book that he was holding onto from Temerity's and is taking it to everybody else. Professor said to go ahead and get started at the library without him because he doesn't know how long his heart-to-heart with Jeffrey was going to be.
All right. So Professor and Jeffrey will kind of hang back. Then while the rest of you guys move on off to the library.
Just come on down. Professor's taking care of some things. He said I could use his book and we'll go to the library and he'll meet us there.
All right.
I guess I really shouldn't say that. It's not things, it's Jeffrey. He's taking care of Jeffrey and Jeffrey's a person.
That's fine too.
It's good. I'm glad they're having a conversation.
Yeah, he said he has had one before with Jeffrey, so they're gonna do that, and but he's not sure how long it'll take because he wants to do the conversation right. So it might be 5 minutes, and it might be an hour, and who knows. But he said to go, and I mean it's a siren song, so he's safe here.
No.
What did you all find out at the headmistress?
Well, she was suitably concerned about the extra-dimensional anomaly trying to lure people into it. So, we will be having some staff to investigate and quarantine the area.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. Not much else came to light besides that. Although we can make use of the library to study up on what exactly these books are, get a better sense of what Temerity was researching. Maybe even find some notes she left within the margins if we're lucky.
Maybe. And Giza's there, so and she's really smart and knows the library. Maybe she can tell us where these came from once we're done reading and kind of backtrack all the different books that Temerity got to get here.
Indeed. Yeah, I had almost forgotten about our need to look through those books before we left, so maybe we'll find something of interest, or we'll stick to our plans as they are.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. So as we all head off back to the library, Professor, welcome back. Do you want to do your heart-to-heart with Jeffrey?
Sure.
All right. So as your companions begin to filter out back into the streets, um, the mid-morning sun, about 9-10 o'clock in the morning, sun begins to kind of warm the air, and it is a nice breezy spring day as you make your way through the city. Meanwhile, Professor heading back to the room, you kind of see Jeffrey sitting on a like kind of chair or stool, just kind of staring out the window.
Professor will open the door slowly and kind of slip in and let it close gently behind him. He's like, "Hello, Jeffrey. I wanted to have a chat with you if you have me."
Uh, Jeffrey just kind of wriggles his face tentacles for a second, but he doesn't make much movement outside of that.
He kind of furrows his brows and nods a bit to himself, taking that as much of a go on as he could muster. So he steps in and sits down on the bed for a moment and kind of shuffles and bounces there uncomfortably, kind of trying to make himself comfortable enough to have this discussion. And he says, "I want to apologize for everything that's happened. The page burning and the pain that it caused. I swear I had no idea that would happen to you. It seems that all this new data that's come to life about the contagious nature of the void has really struck me in a way that frightens me." And he will try to connect with Jeffrey on a mental level to portray and really convey his emotions and his feelings, and how his intent was never to hurt him, and that he really didn't understand what he was doing and how it would affect him.
Why don't you give me a persuasion check?
Okay. Persuasion. 11.
You see, Jeffrey turns his head to look from the window, and he faces you, and just kind of cocks his head for a moment. And it appears you have his attention.
You see, Jeffrey, you're a very important part of this team, just as any of us are. I know that you came into this realm as a... He kind of scrunches up his nose a bit, feeling like the word familiar was not the right word for what Jeffrey is, but he says, conjured being. But you've carved out a home here. I hope you understand that you're important to all of us. And the last thing any of us want to do is to hurt you, personally.
Jeffrey shifts his weight a little bit towards you to kind of like pivot his body towards you. And he sends a mental image, and it's very similar to what Jade had experienced before. You see yourself standing in a room with a little cap with like a propeller on top of it, licking a giant lollipop. And then there's another version of you in Kitsune form, looking all sorts of devilish, stabbing yourself in the back.
He stares at Jeffrey and furrows his brow as he tries to figure out, is this just like a childish depiction of what he thinks is happening, that he's some sort of idiot who can't control himself, or Was he in Kitsune form when he tried to burn it?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. It's like okay. It's like he lets out a bit of a chuckle and he says, "No, really, tell me how you really feel. Look, we all are learning as we go here. We don't have any idea how any of this works. And you could be like me. You could be 250 years old and spend your entire life studying this world, and it won't make a lick of difference because this isn't of this world. We don't know, and for all intents and purposes, we are all just children playing with fire, trying to figure out how to navigate without getting burned. And unfortunately, it seems that people are indeed getting burned, and I hope that you have it within you to forgive me for that. But I assure you that the last thing I want to do is to allow that to happen again.
Give me another persuasion check.
Come on, higher than a 5. Oh yeah, higher than a 5. I got a solid 6.
Woo! Everyone wants a
That's a
solid
12.
double digits.
How does this group of RPG players not know how to better word their wishes?
We do know.
Jeffrey kind of climbs down from his stool, and he kind of waddles his way up to you, and he blinks at you, kind of looking up at you for a moment, and just, you see, he kind of like takes another step towards you, and he puts his little arms around your leg, and then starts brushing his face tentacles against your knee.
Oh no, he's going for the shins.
There's like a manic pause, like what the hell? And then he realizes, okay, this is a hug, and he'll kind of bend down and give Jeffrey a hug, and he'll say,
Bite your arm.
"Please don't bite my arm." I understand. It's difficult, and I have to be completely honest with you. I was very upset earlier, and I'm still not particularly happy, but I understand why you did what you did this morning. But we have to be transparent. You need to be safe. And I think that means, and he's going to pull out Jeffrey's Pokeball crystal. He says, in order to do that, I'm going to need to keep you here a lot more than before, because without my spells, I can't summon you back if you get hurt. So if something happens, you may be gone for good. Does that make sense? Do you understand?
Jeffrey kind of pulls back, he looks up at you, and he blinks, and in that moment when you see his eyes, you kind of, you almost feel like you're falling into darkness. And you feel like that kind of heaving in your gut, that when like the bottom suddenly drops out, and it's like a quick fall. I need you to give me a charisma saving throw, Professor.
Oof. 15.
Right. You kind of stumble for a moment, but you catch a breath and you find yourself. You feel a little bit of kind of like static charge around you, and Jeffrey's face tentacles kind of waggle at you for a second. But you feel like he has imparted some more knowledge onto you, as if to say, don't worry if you lost your spells, I got your back. I need you to please refresh your character sheet.
Oh!
What?
Oh no, what happened? We're all at the library.
What am I looking for here?
You should notice something new in your spells list. if I did it right.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
So Jeffrey gives you about as much of a smile as he can give. He kind of pats your knee and he takes a step back.
The professor just kind of shudders a bit, and he says, "Oh, uh, uh, okay. You've given me a gift. Tell me, if I use this, will it affect me in the same way that your other spell did? Will it spread the corruption?"
Jeffrey kind of blinks and cocks his head, and the impression that you get is that he doesn't understand the question.
He thinks for a moment, and he just sort of tries to connect on a mental level again. And he's like, "Well, using this," and he presses his hand to his chest, like, "make me more like you," and then moves that hand to touch Jeffrey's shoulder, bring you closer to your home.
There is a blink and kind of like a head bobbing motion side to side, followed by a shrug.
Right. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate your help. And we'll do with this what we can. And I don't want you to feel like it's a slight against you if it doesn't get used. It's that what we found using the previous spell that you've given me is that it's not safe to be used. It impacts us, people from this world. It changes us in a way that isn't healthy while we're here. Makes it difficult to do other things that we take for granted. Does this make any sense to you, Jeffrey?
There is a frown, and he kind of leans forward a little bit towards you, and he taps himself on the temple of the head. And what you see in your vision from him is yourself writing in a book with one hand and casting spells with the other.
Do you want me to write it down?
There is kind of like a frustrated grunt as he throws his hands to his side.
We'll work on it. You and I. The more we traveled, I'm sure I'll understand you a lot better. Might be a little bit harder now that we're not on familiar terms, but we'll work at it. But in the meantime, he kind of hefts the crystal up a bit. He's like, "Would you mind? As it stands right now, I can't really protect you very well outside of this, because all I have to defend you with is a stick and the void."
Jeffrey looks at you, he looks at the ball, he blinks, and you see, gives a bit of a yawn. He looks up at you and nods.
He nods, gives a warm smile, and says, "Thank you. I'll let you out. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you there forever. Just need to make sure you're safe." You'll recall him into the Pokeball. He'll get up and make his way out of the room to meet up with the others.
All right. Meanwhile, our party that has head off to the School of Magic, you are It's easy enough to get back inside, get yourselves to the library, find yourselves a spot. What are you guys looking to do as you enter the library?
Should we call on Giza and tell her about the books first, or should we just kind of go research the books and then let her know about it?
Speaking from experience, trying to do anything secretly in the library without Giza's knowledge is, if not impossible, at the very least highly ill-advised. We should find her first.
Giza's pretty easy to find. You take a quick cursory glance around the library, move up and down some of the racks of books, and sure enough, you can find her behind the reference desk.
Hi, Miss Giza.
She kind of looks up from what she's doing. She has like a pair of reading glasses that she kind of sticks on top of her head, and she sees you, gives you a warm smile, and she says, "Good morning. Welcome back."
Thank you.
What is it I can do for you today?
Well, we were successful in recovering a couple of missing texts from the library that we now wish to do a quick study of from the restricted section.
You found books from the restricted section. Where did you find them?
The sewers.
She kind of takes a second to compose herself. She takes a breath and she looks at you and she says, "May I see them?"
Oh, yeah, of course. Are they not dirty or anything? Jade will take out the books and show them to her.
Oh. Oh, they are still in very good shape. That is a relief.
They were hidden, and it seems like they're kind of important for what we're trying to do.
Well, anything that comes from the restricted section is important, and you have my sincere gratitude for returning them.
Is it okay if we read them here and take some notes?
Yes, that's fine. I'll lead you back to the restricted area. You can use that space.
Thank you.
And she will lead you back through the velvety ropes that block off the VIP section here in the library. And she will set you up at a nice large reading table, large enough to accompany you and all of your companions. And she says, I will stay close in case you have any questions or any other need of me.
Thank you.
She kind of nods and give you your space.
So Professor gave me his book, and then I'll have this one. Do we want two of us to each go through a book, and then we can do what we did last time and try to find other books and research that?
That's the plan.
That seemed to work well last time.
Yeah. Who wants which book?
Remind me of the titles.
There is
We are.
one is named The Herald of Balance. The other is named The Hunger of the Void.
I think Yuki would like to read the one about balance. I know that's shocking.
Ren will tag team with her because we make good partnership.
Yeah, we do.
It's like everybody with paired with Ren is a buddy cop movie, and I want to see all of them.
I'm same.
You're not wrong. He is the ultimate straight man, even though he's not a man. He is a Death Char.
Death
A
Star.
Death Star! I can't stand it.
So you take these books and you begin to read through them. It'll take you about an hour to get through each one to kind of get all of the major points that you'd like to that you'll get from these. Do you want to spend the full hour to read them?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'd say about 15 or 20 minutes into your reading session, Giza comes back. You see, she gets up from her desk and she goes, and then moments later she comes back and she brings Professor back with her. Professor, as you walk into this scene, you see all your companions. They each have one of these books that you recovered from the sewers, kind of on this big reading table, and there is water and tea made available to you to make your time here a little bit more pleasant. Um, but they're about 15-20 minutes into reading these books when you arrive.
Everyone's so quiet and reading so peacefully together. Be still, my educator heart.
The library.
You were not here to
Sorry.
distract us.
I haven't seen a class of people just quietly reading, so it's nice to see. Please, go on. Right. Other
Do you want-
snacks? Yeah.
There's some refreshments over that way that Giza got for us.
Ooh.
Yuki and Ren are reading the one about the Herald of Balance, and the rest of us are reading about the Hunger of the Void. Did you want to join one of us?
For sure. Yeah. I can. He's just going to kind of stand over your shoulders and just like glance at the pages as you're reading through it. And he's like trying not to get too close and leery, but he's also a quick reader, so he just kind of like breezes through it. And like, oh, okay, all right.
So as you read through these books, much to Naruto's dismay, there are no notes or anything like that in the margins. There are no note pages kind of stuck in between the pages of the books themselves. It does look like these books were very well cared for and respected, and that they have not been tampered with or altered from whatever state they were found in. It was as if somebody just had taken them from the library and just checked them out. But you do get some information after being here and reading for an hour. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up for everybody. So, those of you reading the Herald of Balance, you will get this information. Those of you reading the Hunger of the Void will get this information.
Well, this definitely confirms a few theories.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, does the Does the fancy box I found, does it match the description of the balance book?
Balance box.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Well, shit. Mhm.
The professor lets out like a bit of a low groan as he reads about the documented ways of being able to wield void magic and regular magic at the same time.
That wasn't a good sound.
There's got to be another way. That simply isn't going to happen.
Do you want it to happen? Not that, not this part where you have to enter a pact, but do you want to be able to wield both magics?
I'm still of the belief that the best way to fight the proverbial fires with proverbial fire, that understanding and being able to wield such power is the key to stopping it in its tracks. So once I learn, if I were to learn how to wield it correctly and safely, then perhaps I could figure out a way to manipulate it in a way to nullify itself. I mean, we've already heard that the only way to fight it, the only way to really deal with it is to take in more of it. I'm afraid that if this is anything to go by, that will only happen by entering into a pact, and that's simply not on my to-do list.
Do you think it's just because that the magics are so different between this reality and wherever the void actually is? We saw what happened when no one was really controlling it. You know, there's things attacked.
Yeah, well, it's certainly possible, and probably the best idea we've come up with so far. My only concern is, I mean, if all it was is, yeah, you just have a talk with some deity or something, and then all of a sudden you just get to use the power, that'd be fine, but A, we don't know the nature of the deity. If the power is any indication, it's probably not good. And then the effects of that magic on the surrounding people and environment are undeniable.
We don't know that it's a deity. The book just says that it's a source of magic. Sources of magic don't have to be creatures.
True.
Maybe it is just the void.
It'd almost be easier if it was a deity. At least that way you might be able to guess at what it wants and appeal to its nature.
Maybe. But if everything that Master Aeronaris told us was true, then the people who were trying to manipulate the void in the first place, they all went... I don't know if they actually went mad from it, but they didn't want to do... I mean, they didn't want to do no harm with it, but that could just be the nature of the people who first found it. When you get... A lot of times when people get power that they don't know what to do with, sometimes it makes them think they can do anything, and that other people don't matter.
Well, that's also the problem, is that we don't know the effects on the psyche. I mean, the old adage that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely didn't come from nowhere.
That's true. But Rockamira didn't seem like she was nice.
That's true. And I have to be honest, I really don't think she had malintent. I really honestly believe that she just believed in the wrong thing.
Maybe.
Considering the void is described as a place of non-existence, and she described what she wanted for the world as death. Another way of looking at that.
But she didn't really. She said she wanted to go and find all these other worlds that I know she's never going to get to, but
Seems to me that all these cultists and the people who are wielding the void in such a negative way are not really worshipping the void itself, but this whisperer that's held there, entrapped there. I mean, if we could find someone who could wield the void but wasn't in bed with this whisperer, well, that would be the ultimate knowledge, really. To know if they're separated in any capacity. Like, is it one without the other? Or is it just so happened to be that this is the most convenient power to wield while worshipping this whisperer?
from my experience, and it's just one experience, so I don't know how much it helps, but deities never answer when you ask them for things.
Ren kind of gives her a side eye.
But
well, most of them.
the devils tend to. So maybe you're right, Professor. Maybe it's not that. Maybe the whisperer person they're all talking about making pacts with, maybe it's their version of some sort of devil who's offering power, and nobody's tapped into what else might be there. Maybe that's why it's all twisty and changey. Yuki and Ren, what did your book say?
It talked about the idea of balance, but balance sounds very much like total destruction to me.
Which
At
How?
least in their
very-
realm.
Which sounds similar to what Rockamira was talking about. This book also spoke of a box. Didn't we find a box down there?
Mm-hmm. Naruto produces the box.
Encouraging.
Allie the player knows we did.
What about the box?
They had it too.
Mm-hmm.
They?
The author of this book, who was trying to unlock the box to gain access to something called the Whisperer, who was, quote unquote, an old and powerful being that had been wrongly locked away. They need
Wrongly
to
for what
destroy
reason?
They did not elaborate, but they must destroy the clavis to release it, so I think we know what this is.
That is the stone the Temerity is seeking.
Correct.
Well, we don't know that Temerity's seeking it, we just know that the cultists are seeking it.
Mm.
You know, it
But
sounds an awful like we need to seek it as well.
Unfortunately, I believe that will become our path.
But if Temerity had the box, do you think Temerity opened the box? If they had the box originally and they opened it before, then the box would have been useless otherwise, right?
This individual does not say that they opened it, only that they tried to.
In order to gain greater access to the void.
Can I see your
How it
book?
works. Of course.
Do we think that the Whisperer is bad? Or that the people who are using the void are not actually in touch with their real Whisperer?
I think there's something that they're in touch with that is guiding them. I'm uncertain if it is the true essence of the Whisperer, or perhaps only shadows of the Whisperer's influence.
Because this book says that it's an old and powerful being wrongly locked away. To the professor's point, everyone who's locked away says they don't belong there most of the time, but some people actually don't. Who wants to bring balance, light and dark, powerful and the powerless, equal chance of existence, and an exchange of knowledge for all realities. Isn't that what you talk about, Yuki? Why would that be a destruction of everything?
Much like the professor's adage, he said earlier about absolute power, I also believe that there is one value in saying that things that are too good to be true or sound too good to be true usually are. I do not trust anything that Rakamira or these talk of the void and this whisperer. I do not believe this is to bring about true balance.
But how do you know? What if the original texts are right and something else is what's corrupting it?
And I would wonder why they keep stealing Temeriti's clones in their bodies and what seems like their will to enact their abilities.
But that's what I mean. They're the ones corrupting it, maybe. What if this book that talks about this Herald and the Whisperer, and that book that's called, I mean, we know that was not a person that had that Master Arenaris really liked, but what if it is true? What if when they first went to the void, it was something that was good and balanced, and that it was people's own desire for power, and that actually made it different?
In my experience, the only great equalizer is death, and I would not have that wash across the world unbound.
To be fair, you serve a god of death, so...
I do, it has its purpose, but that purpose must be tempered with balance and a respect for the cycle of life. These people have shown that they have no cycle of life that they respect.
Yeah, and I mean, the people that we've been fighting have not been... They're not the ones that would give the professor what he wanted as someone who could wield the void and understand it, because it seems like they're not really trying to understand it, right? They're trying to do something else. But a lot of cults spring up from what was once a good place and get twisted along the way. What if the people that we're fighting are the ones that they're going to do something that's bad with it, but it's not necessarily... The whole void might not be a bad thing if these books are right.
For the brief time that I had contact with the void and its corruption, I have no doubt that it is not a positive thing. Until proven otherwise, I will continue working under that belief.
At the very least, what part of the void has chosen to intersect with our world is the Whisperer. And if there's any being that can speak for what the Whisperer wants, it would be this Herald. And we already know that the Herald is, if not leading these cultists, it's certainly a part of the picture, because didn't they say that the Herald was the one present when that echo of temerity awoke and gave it this new purpose that it was following?
If the Herald from the book is the same Herald, then it sounds like the Herald just wants the Clavis to be destroyed so that the Whisperer can come back. We don't know if what we've been in touch with has been the Whisperer, though. And if the Herald if the Herald was there and gave voice to whatever was happening, if you're lost along in your own delusion of what you think is right, you could take that to mean anything.
Well, Jade, if we do operate under the assumption that all these cultists think they're following the Herald, but they're not, they're mistaken in some way, I still don't want the Clavis destroyed, because unchecked void magic entering our realm has not been good at all any previous time we've run across it.
I'm just saying we don't know.
Nope.
Yuki's gonna put a hand on Jade and say, "You're right. There is a lot we don't know. I tend to err on the side of caution when it comes to things that can harm others and mysterious magics and universes, and slow and steady, one piece of information at a time might be the way to go here." I think we all want to understand, and I think we're all asking, she's going to look around at everybody and say, very important questions that need answering, but I still feel like there's so many questions that are unanswered, important questions about harm and intent, and she puts her hands in the air just like, why? We mustn't fight amongst ourselves or find insult or pull us apart. We have to work together and understand that all of us just want to understand.
I don't
But
think we do.
No?
No.
What do you mean?
You said you don't trust any of it. Ren says that balance is only the balance if what their version of balance is and your version of balance is what's correct. Doesn't sound like you want to actually understand it, because every time we come across a new piece of information, everyone decides that it's wrong and bad and evil, and it should be destroyed. And I'm not saying that we do anything with it. And I know we were all very upset with the professor for experimenting with it by himself, because we were really concerned about it. And I'm not saying we do that either, but maybe it is all evil. Maybe it is all bad. Maybe the Whisperer is something that's dangerous and terrifying and should never be allowed here. But what if it's not? If we go into everything assuming that it's wrong and bad and that the only thing to do is to get rid of it, how are we supposed to help anybody who's affected by it now?
Your compassion does you credit, Jade, but I would worry about containing the corruption. As we have said, it can be quite detrimental.
So we just kill everyone who's corrupted by it then?
I certainly hope not, or else I would have been killed already. Again,
Exactly. You have a bit of void corruption in you. And Professor
I
has more.
do not.
And you're still yourselves.
It was removed from me.
By who?
Wait, what? Someone removed the corruption from you.
Thanatos came to me, removed it. I will acknowledge I believe it is part of the reason why I am here, is to help deal with this crisis of void corruption. That's why I was sent back.
Good of him to send
So
you back and not let you know what was going on.
The gods work in mysterious ways.
No. They have you work in mysterious ways.
Perhaps.
So it's a good question to ask then. Why did you get it removed and nobody else did?
That is a
You
superb question.
could obviously do it. Why did no one else get fixed? If this is actually evil and something that you're supposed to fight against.
I do not have that answer. I did not ask for this to happen. It merely did. And I have functioned forward after that.
Well, this is good information. What we know now is that, yes, it can be purified. No, it's not easy, and no, we can't do it at will. But we know it can be done, and that is all the information I need to resolve finding a way.
To resolve what?
Reasonable.
To
Sorry,
finding a way to doing it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, you cut out for me at the end of that.
I apologize for not revealing that. I suppose I was a bit taken up by the shock and revelation, and then we had continued on to find additional shocks and revelations.
So, like, we all dealing with shocks and revelations in our own ways. Speaking of revelations, Jade, I should very much like to speak with your father sometime soon, if you would.
Yeah, I can call him in a couple of days.
He just grins, that professor grin, who that hasn't been on his face since the incident in the morning, and he just says, "Lovely, thank you." Right, have we read everything we need to read? Because I think that the next best place outside of the library to get information is to visit someone who's probably lived through all of this. And he kind of gestures to the entire library.
You mean Geezer?
I mean, we're here with Giza, but she doesn't weave a tale quite like another.
Who?
He grins like the God King Setka. And he's not very far away.
He's a god?
That's what I hear. And he works in a tavern.
Oh, so he's like a dwarven god?
Do dwarf god... Have dwarf gods work in taverns? I have not met a dwarf god that works in a tavern. Have I not met all of them?
There's a lot of them.
That certainly is. They just kind of get everywhere.
Well, I suppose we should leave these books with Geezer then. If we're going to head off to Edmée.
Once everyone's happy with what they've learned, have nothing left to read, then I would vote to move on to Edmée.
Yuki's gonna gently close the book in front of her and she's gonna say, I think I'm done reading for one day.
Looks
I
like
do not
these.
think we will be happy with what we have found, but we can continue on.
Looks like these to Giza. And Jade will pick up the books and leave the table.
Did I not add it to your journals?
I think
I
for
don't see it in mine.
it's
Unless
underneath the handouts and then Moonhaven Sewers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Moonhaven Sewers. No,
Yep.
there it is. Sorry. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Yep.
All right. So Jade picks up the book. She's heading off to hand off these books back to Giza. Is there anything
Yes.
else that y'all would like to do in this library?
Jade's going to talk to Giza for a moment,
Okay.
but otherwise, no. Does anyone else have anything they want to do?
Yuki's going to talk to Professor, but we can do that on the road.
So you find Giza. She's sitting at one of the nearby desks. She smiles and she says, "Did you find what you were looking for?"
I have no idea. But we've found some information, and that's always something. What?
She kind of grins and she says, "There's always a puzzle, isn't there?"
Yeah. Miss Giza, you knew Temerity pretty well, right? Or she was here a lot, anyway?
I knew her. I don't know if I'd say pretty well, but I knew her.
Do you know... Have you read these books before?
I've read a lot of books. And I have had a lot of time. And, well, she kind of grins and she looks at the books in your hand and she kind of runs her fingers over the cover of one of the books and she says, "I have picked up these particular tomes, yes."
Do you know why Temerity would have them?
I don't.
I've read stories about the Thorns of the Black Rose, and I know she travelled with them at one point, and then she became a very powerful wizard afterwards. And everything that everyone says about her says that she was a very good person, although it seemed like she was pretty lonely because she didn't have very many friends. What do you think would make a very powerful wizard potentially go off and investigate very dangerous magic?
She looks at you, Jade, and she kind of frowns a bit and she thinks and she says, "Well, it's no secret that Temerity was looking for ways to extend her life. We know she did through by means of the clone spell. Perhaps she heard of this type of magic and figured that maybe there was a different way."
I know you didn't know her well. Do you think she would hurt people in order to do that?
No. No, that doesn't fit her personality.
So if someone was running around pretending to be Temerity, what do you think would ever have to happen to her for that to even be possible?
What would I think would happen to Temerity?
Mm-hmm.
To make her clones wake up and run around in her stead?
To make people want to use her clones, I suppose. If Temerity wouldn't be of a mind to hurt people, but we know her clones are awake and they are, we don't know what happened to her, and we don't know if she's still out there or not. But none of us, I've never met her outside of a bit of story, and Noriko says that she was a wonderful professor. What do you think?
I think that deep down she is a good person, and it is an unfortunate fact of this world that there are plenty of people out there that are looking to take advantage of those with good hearts. But we fall for it time and time again because we believe that the benefits far outweigh the consequences, I suppose.
Mm. Do you know of a man named Rufus?
Rufus, yes, I know that name. Rufus was a student here.
He was the one, he was with Temerity when she disappeared.
Hmm.
Was he a good person too?
He was real cagey. Kind of a shady sort. I know he got expelled because of his interest in the void magic. Master Arenaris certainly let us hear about that one.
Do you think he would have tried to trick Temerity? And she would have not, I guess, fallen for it, but thought that the risks were worth it?
I suppose it's not impossible, but Temerity was no fool. If Rufus was onto something, one way or the other, I'm sure she would have taken an interest in finding out what that was. I mean, she was a hero. Is a hero, after all.
Thank you, Giza.
She smiles and gives you a bit of a nod.
I hope I see you again.
I'm never far from this place.
I am, so it might be a while.
Well, if you're leaving town, do come back and see us when you're back.
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.
She'll go back to the group.
By the time you all reconvene, it's probably about 11 o'clock in the morning. Gonna be approaching noon before too long. The school will break for lunch at noon, as it did the last time you were here. So you were able to partake in that if you wish. Otherwise, the world is your oyster.
Narco is hard at work on writing up some documents. She says she just needs to leave something with the professor or with the headmistress and then the post office before we leave.
While everyone's together, Professor will regale everyone about how his chat with Jeffrey went. And then as he finishes up, he sort of says, you know, I really don't believe that Jeffrey did what he did to my journal maliciously, but he did give me something. as a use this instead. Don't worry, I've got your back type of thing. And I don't think he understands what exactly it is he's giving out. And he thinks for a moment. His first inclination is to hold something up to ta-da, look what he gave me. He was like, since that's not something that he can do, he says, he gave me another spell.
What kind of spell?
Every bit the type of spell you would expect from someone like Jeffrey.
Like a spell to summon food?
Oh, that would... Why wasn't it that? No, it was... And it's funny, I remember it vividly. I know everything about it, and I didn't need to write it down. It allows the caster to channel a ray of void energy.
That seems
Channel.
somewhat dangerous.
Channel array?
It's certainly not the type of thing that you would cast to grow flowers. It's definitely something for battle.
Why would Jeffrey give you another spell like that?
Because I don't have any other spells that I can use anymore.
So he was trying to take care of you?
I really believe that, yeah. I just don't think he understands what it means for someone of this world to use that type of magic.
But he's not from here.
That's why he doesn't understand.
Maybe it wouldn't be bad.
Well, it'd certainly be bad for whoever is on the other end of that beam.
Could I pose a question?
Go on.
I understand that you believe Jeffrey is doing his best to help you in light of recent events. But is there any possibility that something else could be influencing Jeffrey in his actions?
Oh, absolutely.
What are you thinking, Ren?
What?
Whispers.
Anything is possible.
At the very least, if the void seems to have a tendency to try and displace whatever the local magic system is, I think that's probably... I don't think Jeffrey's aware of it at all. I think that's exactly right. I think he's just acting on his instincts to provide what he has and doesn't understand where the displacement's coming from.
It's not to be unkind to your friend, Professor. The initial infection, like a virus, he is trying to multiply his own unique magical abilities and use them, as Nariko said, to displace the magic abilities of this realm.
It's entirely possible.
Except he didn't do anything until you told him that you couldn't protect yourself without your spells.
That's true.
He did give the professor the original spell, and he also gave it to you, did he not, Jade?
No?
No.
The professor gave it to me.
The gift that just keeps on giving.
If all Jeffrey was trying to do was infect people, he would have already infected all of us.
Perhaps some of us have additional natural resistances.
Maybe
no magical herpes.
Jeffrey didn't just come here, the professor brought him here. If the professor hadn't done the spell that he did in that room when he did it, Jeffrey wouldn't even be here. That's not saying you did anything bad, Professor. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It just...
No.
Jeffrey didn't come here trying to spread whatever void stuff is going on. He's not trying to multiply himself.
Perhaps not. But do we know that for sure?
Do we not know that?
We know very little for certain.
We know that we've been with him for weeks now, and all he's done is help the professor.
Help that has come with a number of undesirable side effects.
All magic comes with side effects. There's warlocks who exist today, walk in this world already, packed to many different things. All of their magic comes from the thing that they're packed to. You pull a familiar from the Feywild, you're going to get Feywild magic. You pulled a familiar from the Void, Professor. Why is everyone surprised that he's going to give you the ability to use it?
Because familiars don't typically give people abilities to use magic, from my understanding. It's not exactly my school, though.
But they're still tied to it.
It's a whole new thing. We don't understand, and it's difficult to try and take our understanding from something completely different. It's like trying to understand why an apple tastes the way it does by studying an orange. It doesn't make any sense. But what I do know from all this experience is that it's very easy to become suspicious of everything and everyone that we don't understand, especially right now when we're facing so much that we don't understand, and that's going to cause problems. It's going to push us in different directions. We need to stay focused on our quest to understand and thwart. And we need to take trust where we can find it. It's not going to do anyone any good if we look at everyone that we see expecting them to do nasty things to us. Innocent until proven guilty, right?
Especially if we're hoping to help the people.
It's a slippery
if they
slope
do?
to get from Mystic Mechanicus to Master Arenaris.
It's true. All
What
Jeffrey
if,
has done has been helpful.
what
Even
if people
Rock
do not want our
Mirror,
help?
they may not want our help, and that's okay. But what if someone else does? What if we can help them? If you're right and this is a virus and it's infecting them and it's doing something to them, then it's not their fault what's happening. But Jeffrey hasn't done anything wrong to anybody. And if Jeffrey's comes from the void, then that means that there's other creatures like Jeffrey there who are just helpful. Just like there's people here who are helpful and people here who are not.
I think the thing to keep in mind is that intention counts for something, but someone can still do harm with the best of intentions. Which is why I still think our best move right now, get to Edmée, see what secrets are in this scroll, and Ren, if you're able to find any more connection with the divine that allows for rolling back void influence, then that will be a great boon for us to help people who are touched by it and do not want to be or are suffering some sort of ailment because of it.
Ren snorts and his eyes kind of like glow in emotion that he almost seems to be rolling them. I will attempt additional meditation.
I would very much like if the most reliable tool I had for dealing with the void wasn't always just my rifle. So, if you'll excuse me, I need to drop off some documents with the headmistress. Narco's going to take a break from the party for a bit.
Are you looking to just drop this stuff off to her, or are you looking to speak with her for a bit?
Either's fine. If the headmistress is busy, Naruto can leave a note that explains like what the contents are.
Okay. Yeah, Naruto, you can make your way out of the library to the headmistress's office. When you arrive, you see that Howl and Claw are not standing by the door. The door itself, with its kind of glass panes, you can kind of peer inside. You see that she is currently not in her office.
Okay. And Naruto will just leave the paper she has with like her inbox.
Okay.
And then she will head for the post office to send out some mail back to headquarters.
Cool. All right. So for everybody else, as Naruto kind of takes steps away for a bit, what are the rest of you looking to do?
I think Yuki is going to try to talk to Jade. I think she's gonna walk up, and as everybody's just kind of getting ready to head out and do our thing, she's gonna say, "Jade, are you all right today? I don't know. You just seem a little off."
It's hard to figure out where everyone stands when everyone is very of the idea that because something is new and different, it can't be trusted.
I understand.
Do you?
Yuki has a wry smile, and she says, "Yes, for although Ren's corruption got cured, mine did not."
And you're still you, aren't you?
I am me, mostly. There are things that I somehow know that I can do with the void.
We keep calling it corruption, and it makes us think that it's a terrible thing. Maybe it is. We don't know that yet. We don't know if the reason Rockmira was the way she was because when she was a little girl, people with different ideas snatched her up and taught her that the things that she believed in were the right things to believe in and beautiful things. We don't know if that was them or the void.
Mm.
People who were after the people of the clones, they're hurting people. They have to be stopped. That's just how that is. If we can cure them or get the clones back to Temerity, if Temerity's even still alive, that's great, but they have to be stopped. That doesn't mean that everyone with corruption or with the touch of the void is a bad person or is going to go crazy. And it doesn't mean that the void itself is even as bad at all. We don't know enough. How are we supposed to help people if we just call them corrupted and tainted?
I agree that there is definitely something to be said about how we speak about things. For example, the Whisperer, the Herald, seem very... I don't know, they just seem very ephemeral and mysterious and powerful, and there
So
is...
do every god. So does every god. Ren literally worships a god called Thanatos.
Correct.
And he is a undead centaur.
Correct. And while I wouldn't immediately say that everything Thanatos does is correct, I also wouldn't say there are, in, I don't know, good, helpful ways of I don't know, maybe what people want to see or they want to believe. I think And Yuki's going to look a little frustrated, and she's going to say, I think it comes down to fear, Jade. People fear what they don't understand. I fear what's inside of me.
Then you have to try to understand it.
Correct. And that's what we are doing. We are trying to understand, but that doesn't take away the fear while you're doing it.
If the fear makes you angry and just want to get rid of it, that's not really understanding.
But we're just going to get rid of the people who are, hurting other people? We're not going to try to understand why they're doing what they're doing?
I said that they need to be stopped.
Mm.
People who are hurting other people should be stopped. We stopped Rockamira. We brought her to the city so that she could go to a jail, and she killed herself there.
Mm-hmm.
But we stopped her from doing... Thinking back on it, I don't even know what. She was sitting in a house, not hurting anybody, except for the people who came to her house, potentially, if it was even her that did it. Or just they got lost in the void that has been spreading out from it. Or she's dead anyway, and we'll never get to know, and we'll never get to ask her, and she'll never get to see all the places that she thought she was going to go and see. And that's our fault, because we didn't understand her. And we didn't listen to the professor, and we should have. And if people come and attack us, and they try to take Aura away, then we have to do everything we can to stop them too. And sometimes that might mean that, yes, we're going to have to kill them to do it. But understanding the void that's touching you now is not the same thing as trying to understand why other people want to hurt other people and thinking that it's okay. They're being either used or they are completely devoted to whatever cause that they think that they are going for, and that is not something that I can understand, but we can try and stop them from hurting anyone else. But we don't know if the reason that they're like this is because of the magic they're using, of the void itself, or if they are just bad people who decided they found a new magic that they're going to use to hurt other people because they can, and they think it'll make them more powerful. We have no idea if the reason that those original mages turned on everyone else was because the void itself corrupted them, or because they were hiding the fact that they were trying to get more powerful than their other mage brother people were, and they wanted that power for themselves. And the reason that they were able to do it is because they contacted something through their void, and maybe that something was bad. There's lots of bad things. Doesn't mean everything is bad. And we can't help anybody if we don't try, at least.
I would like to do an insight check on Jade.
Sure. What are you trying to insight?
I would like to try to insight what she's most upset about right now, and if this is I don't want to say projection, that's kind of douchey. If this is kind of echoes of what happened to her as a child.
I'm not gonna roll because she is upset. She was very upset about Rockamira.
Yeah.
That seems to be the thing that she's most upset about right now. And the fact that everyone immediately saying that we can't everything is too good to be true, even though that's what you're supposed to want to strive for, and that it is untrustworthy, makes her think that there's going to be another Rockamira.
Jade, I don't know what we are going to come up against. I don't know.
I don't know either. But we've got to at least try to be better.
How would you... What does better look like to you in this context? Just so I'm understanding.
Every time we get new information about the void, everyone except the professor immediately thinks it's suspicious. You said that the balance that this thing was promising from the book was too good to be true, but isn't that the whole reason that you strive for balance? There are hundreds of gods who preach the same things, and none of their followers, and none of them, make it happen. Point is that you try. If everything that we come across of the void is just going to be met with more distrust and fear, then every single time we come up against someone who is touched by the void, it means that we're going to fear them and we're going to lash out at them because of it. It means that we won't listen, just like we didn't listen to Rockamira. I was afraid, and I tried to do something that would let us search her place so that we didn't have to have more conversation that wasn't going anywhere, that I thought was a good idea, and all it did was make it worse, because I was afraid of what was happening. What if we come across someone else who's like Rockamira? What are we going to do? We're going to fight them too, when they're not doing anything. We keep calling the void a corruption. What if it's not? What if it's just different? Noriko says that it's trying to replace the magic that's in this world. It's otherworldly magic. It might not have any other way to survive here. Is it a terrible thing if the person has it and is not hurting anyone with it?
If they are not causing harm, then no.
What is harm? Rockamira didn't cause anyone any harm.
We also did not put the tooth in her mouth and have her kill herself. We also did not do that.
We didn't. But we put her in a situation where she thought the only way out was using it. And that's our fault. Could have just talked to her.
She could have also just talked when we got her to the authorities. She could have also just talked to them.
Why should she? She tried to just talk to us, and we attacked her in her own home and brought her away from her home to the authorities, where they put her in a cell, where she was alone and afraid and didn't know anyone else was going to come and help her. And everybody in her life, probably, from the time that they got her, told her that if this scenario happens, this is what you have to do. And so she did it. And we didn't even bother to see. We weren't even there. We don't know what she went through. We don't know what they did to her. We know she was working for them. We don't know that was her fault.
I don't know if it's a fault with Rakamira. I think she made a choice.
She made a choice based on our decisions.
But she also made a choice to worship who she worshipped and do what she did.
People worship a lot of different gods all the time.
Agree.
So why is hers bad? Because it's different and scary. Thanatos is also scary. People fear death. Rakamira didn't, which means that she thought being alive where she was more terrifying than not knowing where she was going after the fact.
Yuki lets out a long sigh. She says, Jade, I feel like nothing I say right now is going to resolve this. There is no resolution at this point, and I just all I can say is that I will try to be better.
I'm gonna try to be better too.
Yuki will nod, and she'll just kind of walk away.
So with that, any other conversations as you guys are presumably moving out of the library?
Nothing so deep as that, but the professor will also kind of walk next to Jade as they're moving about and just say, question. Are there means of contacting your papa in ways that doesn't exhaust your ability to summon him? Really just have a couple of questions.
I mean, I can. Do you want to talk to him?
Indeed, I think, full transparency, I've had an idea. An idea no one's going to like, but
What idea?
before I even consider implementing it, I have questions that need answering, and your papa will be one of two people who might be able to answer them.
Who's the other person?
The Summer Queen.
Who? Oh!
Or,
Yes. We've got letters, yes.
she nods.
I
don't need a whole grand display. Really just a chat.
I used everything from David to bring him here. But I don't have to use all of that if you just want to have a conversation. I do have to use my magic to put back into David to do that. Outside of David, I don't really know how you would request him, because he kind of doesn't like that, and usually that actually does summon him and not just you be able to talk to him, and that kind of can be a bad thing. You might be able to try using a ley line like he was showing, but you'd probably have to have a ritual space set up to do that. I've never had to contact Papa outside of David, so I'm not really sure. But if you just want to have a chat and you don't need to have him be physically here, I can let you talk with David tonight. Or if, we are still here. Noriko's still gone doing her business. We could probably ask the Siren Song people if there's a way to get in touch with Lorelei.
That sounds like a good idea. I really don't want to put anyone out, and I certainly don't want to take up any of your time with your papa. So, yeah, maybe before we leave.
Okay, do you want to go now? Because we have time right now. I could use a walk.
Sure. Let's go for a walk. He kind of turns and looks at the rest of the crew who are still in the library. And he wasn't like being silent about this or anything like that. It's like, are we all right with taking a bit of a break? Feels like the library is getting a little bit stuffy.
A break would do us well, I think.
Lovely. Well, I'm going to try to talk to either Devil or an Archfey before we go. If you want to come, you're welcome. If you'd rather do anything else, also welcome. Meet back around here soon. Otherwise,
That sounds good.
right. Perhaps we can get some fries along the way. Right, let's go.
So, Professor and Jade, you guys are sticking together. Is anybody else moving together, or are you all kind of breaking your separate ways at this point for a little bit?
Friend is arguing with the automatrons, going, no, 7 apples. 7. He's trying to hold up his fingers to try to communicate the idea. No soup, apples.
They're kind of negotiating back. They're like, we don't know why you're negotiating with us. We'll bring you all the apples you request. It's really not a problem.
Really?
Yes.
Let us start with 7.
7 apples, yes. We will get them for you shortly. So Shred's just kind of like spending the time just like at school eating apples. Because they'll keep bringing
It's
them.
a rough morning for him.
That's fair.
I think Yuki is going to hang in the library a little bit and try to find a book of herbs.
Okay. It's easy enough to find. There's a whole, agricultural herbalist section. You can pick up some information on different blends, different strains of tea leaves, and all sorts of good stuff like that. More than enough to keep you occupied and entertained for as long as you wish.
Yeah, I think Yuki's gonna find a spot in the library, quiet spot in the sunshine. She's just gonna sit crisscross applesauce with her tail wrapped around and just read about herbs for a little bit.
All right. Aura, we haven't heard from Aura yet this session. Aura, how's it going? What are you up to?
There she is.
Aura's been kind of listening to what's going on. Not really ready to make a decision. She knows that Jade's upset. because it seems like everybody is very anti-void. And I think she's leaning towards what Jade is saying. It's like we don't have enough information to make a judgment.
Are you looking to kind of hang around with Jade and Professor as they go off to help Professor try to reach whoever he's trying to reach? Or does Aura want to hang back, do something?
Yeah, I'll go with them.
Okay. So everyone kind of goes their own way. They take a break from a long day of reading and philosophical discussion and debate. Meanwhile, Aura and Professor and Jade, which direction are you guys heading, and who are you trying to get a hold of?
I think the professor wanted to go to Siren Song first.
Yeah, we'll go to the Siren Song first. We'll see if there's a way of communicating with Lorelei that isn't going to exhaust any like single-use communication methods.
So, what you'll find as you get to the Siren Song, how are you kind of presenting the question?
I think the professor will try and spin this as some new information has come to light, and I have some very specific and important questions that need answers. And unfortunately, the only answers that I'm going to be able to find to this are going to be from the summer court. Given that we've recently had audience with Queen Lorelei, I would really love to know if there's a way of communicating with her, to ask her these questions in a way that's both non-intrusive and not going to upset her.
What you get back is the information that they can provide you, Professor, is that even though they know you took one of her crossings to get here, you came from the Feywild rather than going to there from here. So kind of what you get is that it's sort of the thing where Lorelei calls them, they don't call her. And in order to really get a hold of her, she would have already had to have given you a way to get in touch with her.
We have that.
All right. This would be so much easier if I could just turn out the lights and say her name 3 times in a mirror or something. Right.
Maybe you can try on a rosebush.
Yeah. It's not going to do anything for my image of a kooky professor yelling at stones.
We could find a park.
All right, let's find a rosebush. There's got to be
Okay.
rose bushes here somewhere.
There's probably someone has some.
There are plenty of flower and plant beds that are around the School of Magic. Easily the easiest accessible, the most prominent in the city.
Okay. Start there, looking specifically for roses.
What are you doing with said roses?
He will lean up close to one of them, and he will like, hello? Lorelei? It's me, the professor. Can you hear me? Is this thing on?
As you lean into the rose and you speak into it, the rose is a rose, and it does nothing, and it smells nice, and meanwhile some passerbys kind of watch you curiously and giggle and keep moving on their way.
He like flushes at that, and he just like, I know what this looks like. Calls after them as they like hustle away.
You know, we do have that rose that she already gave us to contact her.
Didn't she say it was single use? We can't.
That
use
doesn't
it
mean she
again
won't
after.
give us another one.
I don't want to risk it just in case we need to get a hold of us for something else. This is, well, if I feel like it's important, but that's not my rose. That's for the group. And this may not be so important to everyone. If I can find another way, I think that's better than.
Well, if I know anything, which I don't know a lot of, I don't know how the Feywild works, but most things do hear it when you call their name. It's just that the more powerful you are, you hear a lot of it, so you kind of tune it out. Maybe you just need to find a way to make yourself stand out, or you can just talk to Papa. David will be ready to go tonight, so it would only use up a little bit of the magic if you're just going to have a conversation. It won't use up all of it.
Oh, well, if you don't mind, then perhaps that's the best course of action, so that I don't get banned from the school for talking to flowers.
I'm sure the flowers like it. My sister talks to flowers, and they grow really well.
Was you a druid?
Yes.
I feel like druid was my original calling, at least a lot of my siblings.
I have some flowers back home. I'm able to keep them pretty well and good, but they don't grow as well for me as they do for her. But yeah, you can talk with David tonight, and if Papa can't help, then we'll try to figure out a way for you to stand out to Lorelei.
All right. Perfect.
That's
Thank you,
really
Jane.
what all the rituals are for, to get your voice out there. You're welcome.
Ritual to talk to the Summer Queen. That would be one hell of a ritual.
She didn't really seem to. I mean, we first went to her on that ship, that big ship, and we have a ship now. Maybe you can do something on the ship. Maybe you can get some flowers and take them onto the ship, and like put them in a circle and say something very eloquent, or swear at her. That might work.
In all of my knowledge working in a school of magic, do I know of any rituals like that has been known to work?
Rituals, yes. Known to work, hit or miss.
Well, it's worth a shot. And he will
Yeah.
try really, really try to pick some flowers and put them into his bag without being seen. That's a solid 11 on sleight of hand, so.
There's some grumbly eyes looking upon you, but no one seems to approach you, say anything, or do anything.
What? They're very pretty, and I want to put them in a vase. Right, well, I guess that's it for here. Shall we meet back up?
Yeah. You haven't really eaten today. Are you hungry?
Yes, but that is a base state of existence for me. I should be fine for now. I've got some
The School of Magic
some
has.
rations.
Well, the School of Magic has those little people that come and bring you food, though, for a little bit of money. Do you just want to?
It's lunchtime, isn't it?
It is lunchtime. Or are you hungry?
I could go for some food.
Why don't we just go back to the little tree area, and we'll get some food then, while we wait for Noriko to come back.
Sounds good to me.
You've been pretty quiet today, Aura. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Just had a lot to think about lately.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on for you. I talked to a geezer while I was returning the books. And I don't know if it makes you feel better or not, but she really thought that there's no way that Temerity would be working with people like this. So, I know you're not Temerity, but you do come from Temerity, and I know you've been upset about all the people who look like you running about, and I just wanted you to know that it's comes from a good place.
It's good to hear that Temerity wouldn't run around with the cultists that we found. But also at the same time, it's worrisome because she's supposed to be very powerful.
That's what I said. I also told Giza that the Rufus, that she was seen with him when she disappeared, and Giza said that he had been kicked out of the school for researching the void magic, and he was kind of shifty. But that Temerity was very smart and a hero and wouldn't let someone lead her astray willingly. So maybe they found something worthwhile. That Temerity went off to go and either fight or get to help.
I mean, maybe, but what you just said got me thinking maybe we shouldn't be looking for Temerity. Maybe we should be looking for Rufus.
Because if we can find him, he'll know what happened to her.
Yeah, I mean, Lorelei even said she couldn't find Temerity.
That's true. Yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should look for Rufus. How do we do that?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you might have
I don't
heard.
even know what he looks like, but maybe we can discuss it with the others and
He's a new one.
perhaps ask. That would be a good place to start.
All right. So, party begins to slowly make their way back towards the school as Professor Jade and Aura, you kind of make your way in. You get your way into the center quad. You see Ren is already there with a bunch of apple cores kind of on the ground around him. The little servant automatons come around and are happy to take whatever requests you might have for food and drink. Um, Yuki, from where you're sitting in the library, there are doors, or, sorry, windows that kind of open out into this quad. You can see uh, Ren sitting there. You see Jade, Professor, and Aura start to kind of filter in and get settled. And around that time, we would also see Nariko begin to make her way back, as well as the party begins to coalesce once again. By this time, it's a little afternoon, between noon, 1 o'clock. Lunch is in full swing. Anything that you wish to procure for the little servant automatons running around, they'll get it for you. Apples, sandwiches, teas, whatever your hungry little heart desires. We see our party come back together, having all of the errands run that you guys were looking to do. So what is the next step?
Are we about ready to go to Edmée?
I think so.
I think I've done everything I need to do here.
Mhm.
If we have no objections, then I'd be keen to start moving sooner than later.
How
So-
far is
For travel to Edmée,
Mhm.
there's kind of that river between Moonhaven and Edmée. Is that navigable by ship?
Yes.
Okay.
I think seeing everybody getting back together, Yuki would have grabbed her little lunch that they brought her, in her little spot, and would have made her way outside, finishing it up on the way to join everybody.
So I think it's best for us to get underway.
To Edmée.
All right. So, group comes together. Decisions made to head towards Edmée. The possibility has been brought up of using your ship. Does anybody have any proficiency in motor vehicles?
no?
Nope.
I can make a map.
That's always helpful.
So you could try to sail it yourself. It could, you could probably make it work.
No. We're getting Narco is getting crew.
Okay. Yeah.
As much as I believe in my girl's ability to just magically become a seaman, no, not today.
Yes, you could certainly hire a crew. Wouldn't be that hard to do going down by the docks. There's always someone with sea legs looking for work.
Who's what sort of crew would I be able to Shanghai out of the von Grutzner office?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you could get somebody from the von Grutzner office that wouldn't cost you anything. You'd be able to kind of get them to command the ship for you. You could get a crew of sailors to help sail it. It would cost you about a gold a day to get a full complement crew to assist with sailing the ship. Taking care of the sails and things like that.
Well, that's certainly in the budget.
Yeah.
Alright. All humanoids, or are there some constructs mixed in there? I don't know if we're at the point where we're using Modrons as sailors. That
They had
works or not.
no constructs yet at this point, so it would be all humanoids. Different races, different different people. But yeah.
Alrighty.
So if you got your little crew heading onto your new ship, they'll find that the ship itself is sailworthy. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it, but it is pretty empty. But so you guys will have plenty of room. Let's head to the map.
It's the map. It's the map. It's the map.
So here you are at Moonhaven. And you can sail the ship down towards Edmée. Would not be a very long trip at all by ship. It would take you about I think about 4 to 6 hours by ship. So you'd be arriving in Edmée around evening.
A 3-hour tour. That won't go awry.
But the crew you've hired, they are good at handling the ship. Your captain, of course, from the Von Gerstner Company, is experienced in leading this crew. So you guys, all you need to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the float. Um, any fireside chats? Anything you wish to prepare? Anything else you guys are looking to do whilst on this journey?
I think Yuki will go to talk to the professor if he's not busy.
No, he's available.
The goddamn right he is. Oh no.
Is he though?
um. So, Yuki will just, I guess, find him wherever he's at, and just, can I bother you for a moment, Professor?
He's kind of like staring down at one of those little travel notebooks that was meant to be his new spell book. Completely blank pages, and he just looks up at you, and he's just like, "A moment from you is never trouble, Yuki."
She kind of gives a half smile to that. She says, "So it's, you should probably keep that word trouble, close at hand. So, you know how Ren had said earlier that, their void..." She's gonna pause, remembering Jade being upset about the verbiage. She's gonna say, effects had been erased.
Yes. If I'm completely honest, really gives me a reinvigorated hope for what we're doing here.
Yes. Thought I'd let you know, as our resident knower of things about the void. Unfortunately, though Ren's has been erased, she's gonna look directly in your eyes. She's gonna go, mine has not.
He stares into your eyes for a moment, takes a breath in, and nods and kind of pats the spot next to him, which is really just sort of sitting on the deck with his back against the wall. Like, have a seat.
She will sit next to him and kind of curl her tail around so she could kind of almost worriedly like kind of mess with the fur on her tail, almost like a girl would nervously twirl her hair. She's just kind of messing with her tail fur. And yeah, things are not right in here. And she kind of points at her chest. I somehow know that I can. She looks around to make sure nobody else is around because she doesn't really want to freak anybody out. She's gonna say, cast void magic spell.
He nods and he says, I know that my reaction learning of all of this was less than desirable. And I would be lying if I said it didn't frighten me, but I've had some time to really think on this and really wrap my head around circumstance. The first thing you need to know is that a door may have been unlocked in you, but that doesn't mean you have to open it. Secondly, as someone who's been dealing with this for a little bit longer, this doesn't change who you are. It doesn't change what you know. Well, other than a spell when you couldn't cast one before. It doesn't change anything about you other than the fact that this has become available to you. Now do with that what you must. But you're still you. You're not going to turn into some sort of tentacled monstrosity. At least that I know of. I haven't yet. But we don't know the nature of this, and it is very worrying when something happens to us against our will. But I've taken to finding peace in that. This is this thought when I start to become worried about this, because as a wizard, my command over the weave is incredibly important, and when that grasp started to weaken because of it, it really frightened me. But look at it this way. This isn't a bad, new and bad. It's new and different. And while there's capacity for badness, just as there's capacity to cut yourself or stab someone or end a life every time you pick up a knife, that doesn't mean you have to. And nothing is going to compel you, at least while you leave that door shut, to do so. So, Yuki, the monk of balance that you are, take comfort and know peace within the balance of yourself, and know that with all things there is an equal and opposite. For what bad, shadowy thing that this has cast over you, there is a light somewhere ready for you to grasp hold of it. This doesn't have to be bad.
Yuki nods sagely, taking immense comfort in the professor's words. She'll say, yes, yeah, it is about balance. It is good to know that the existence of this change will not tempt me to use it, will not compel me to be anything other than me. Well, I thought of anybody you should know what is happening.
Thank you. I really do appreciate you trusting me with this knowledge. And, you know, I'm going to fix it. That's what we're doing here. I'm going to find a way to fix it. And as long as I'm here and I draw breath, I'll be working towards that for you, for me, for Jade, for everyone. Because this thing doesn't have to be all ending. There has to be a way to live peacefully alongside it.
Yuki smiles and she says, "If anyone will figure it out, it is you with your tenacity."
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence.
Well, I'm gonna. She's Yuki almost feels like flustered that she, I don't know, took up his time, and she's gonna say, "Well, thank you, Professor. I will let you get back to your." She looks at the blank notebook, and she just goes, "Studies. I don't think it will be long before we're in Edmée, and I think I feel the need for some tea."
Anytime.
And Yuki will go find some hot water to make tea.
Hot water easily found. Tea is had.
Woo! Commence purring.
Oh no, Red. Anybody else?
No. Jade would talk to Nariko.
Alright. You'll find her standing over on the side, kind of idly watching the shoreline as the ship sails upriver.
Yeah. Jade's gonna just come up to the rail beside her and look out over the rail and then immediately pull back and back up a step because that's way too high up. And the water's right there. But still beside her. And she's going to say, "You've been real quiet today, Nariko. Are you okay?"
Takes in a deep breath, lets it out. No, but being okay hasn't really been an option, so manage as best we can.
Do you want to talk about it?
Sometimes I worry we do too much talking.
Well, there's nothing to do for a few hours but talk.
You
don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah. What is the purpose of the Mystic Mechanicus? It's not a test. I just want to hear your answer.
Well, we didn't start out as the Mystic Mechanicus. That's the name we gave ourselves after we helped quite a few people and they asked what to call us. But the reason that we named ourselves so that people knew who we were was because we wanted to help people. We helped people in Dumdraw, and we helped people in Crystal Cove, and we help. At least we try to. I think that's what our purpose is for. What do you think it's for?
I think that's about right. We wound up thrust into a situation where we came into contact with the Void and the Warlocks were using it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw people in trouble. We wanted to help. Find the answers and do what we can to help. So I think we're on the same page there.
Sometimes different people have a different idea of what help means. But at the end of the day, we are still helping people. And sometimes that means talking. And sometimes that means having to go down into a sewer and fight a bunch of monsters And sometimes that means that things are scary.
Yeah. Still can remember what it felt like down in the mines in Dumdorall when I came just a little too close.
I remember. Do you want to keep doing this? Because you don't have to.
Mother always said that if you are ever given two choices, you actually have three. You can pick left, you can pick right, or you can refuse to make a choice. I don't think I would be happy if I didn't make the choice at all, if I didn't make the effort. I'd rather make the effort and be wrong than make the mistake. Even though that is terrifying to think about, especially when more and more it becomes less about I make a mistake and I get a bad grade, or I make a mistake and mother scolds me, and now it's if I make a mistake, people die. But I can do something. I know I can. I've shown I can. I don't think I've ever been happier than when I got to saw the balloon rise up over Crystal Cove that first night. I want to do more of that.
More of fixing things.
I'm a very practical girl. I see something that's broken or that can be improved, and I want to fix it. I want to create new things. No one really quite understood just what all these gears and smoke and metal could do until I put it all together and I showed them. I think the only thing that I regret is that my little portable washing machine hasn't exactly been as much use as the guns and the cannons. But I know that's what we seem to need.
Hasn't been as much use yet.
Yeah. That day will come, but I've got to make sure that we're all there to see it.
Put a lot of pressure on yourself to do everything, Noriko. You know, it's not you making a mistake if we all do something together. It's all of us. And it's not all up to you to fix things. Even though you're very, very good at fixing things. Professor wants to learn, and Ren is here to fix things in his own way too. And Yuki's trying to understand. And I came here to clean up after things had already happened. I was never. I never thought I'd be the one going towards danger for any reason. But my papa always said that if you're in a situation and you can help people, that you should always help. Because even if you don't win the fight and you don't win the day, you make a difference to the people that you're able to help. It doesn't matter if no one ever remembers it, because that person will, and then they'll go out to help more people after, because you took the chance to do it for them. And I don't like that we're using guns and magic as much as we are for the reasons we're doing it, but because we're doing it, it means that someone else doesn't have to. And it means that we're helping people who may not even know that they were in danger in the first place. But we are doing it together. You don't have to put all the burden on your own shoulders.
So you trust me?
Of course I do.
You trust us? All of us? We decided to be this merry little band.
I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here still. I think if we didn't trust each other as much as we did already, we wouldn't still all be together. We definitely wouldn't work as good as we did together. And I don't think we would be nearly as upset as we were well, not even today, it was yesterday. Yesterday in the sewers, when several of our friends almost didn't get back up again. But just because I trust all of us doesn't mean that we can't do better.
Then you understand exactly where I come from when I am so hard on myself. Because you're right. We can always do better.
We're doing the best we can each day. And the more we learn, the better we can do, so long as we're willing to learn and actually change with it as we learn new things. And I think we have been.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we need to make more of an effort, maybe to do the talking when we can. We're not always going to get the choice. We didn't the other day.
We let that person who calls herself Reverie talk for us about as much as she was willing to, and well, I can't say that anything that she said I found terribly convincing to bring me over to her point of view.
No, definitely not. There's sometimes that talking won't fix it, and no amount of understanding is going to change anyone. Not all the time, though.
No. I'm afraid we're going to, for a while yet still, keep coming across situations where we're going to be called to act, and we won't have every answer that we want. But
You're right.
We can.
And we will. And we're going to look out for each other. And not just each other, but for everything that we don't understand. For everything that we don't know yet. At the end of the day, we all want to help people. And make things better. And I think we're doing the best we can to make that happen. With what we have, with where we are. There's not been much time for us to do more than react sometimes. And especially with them wanting to take Aura.
No matter what, I think that's something that I can't abide, which is whoever these people are, if they find us to be in disagreement with them, they are more than happy to impose their vision on everyone regardless.
You're not wrong. I think the thing that I'm worried most about is that we're going to come across another Rockamira. And we need to do better than we did with her. Not the people who are attacking us. Not the people who are... I don't know if lost is a good way to say it because it doesn't seem like they're lost. But anybody can follow something and really truly believe in it and do horrible things because of it. And you can just be a bad person. That's just a thing that you can be. People can just be bad people. And if someone comes and attacks us, or doesn't give us any other choices, we will do what we need to do to make sure that we are all safe and that other people are safe from them. But we can't assume that everyone will be like that just because they've touched the void and liked it, or thought it gave them other options that they maybe didn't have before. Maybe it is bad. Maybe it is, but we don't know entirely yet. And I just don't want us to end up like Master Aeronaris, who thinks that the only solution is to destroy everything that the void touches. Maybe that's foolish, but there's got to be more than just... There has to be more than guns and magic.
I hope there is.
I think so long as we're willing to entertain the idea that there's something else that can be done, then we'll at least try until we can't try anymore. Sometimes they're not going to give us a choice.
That said, I'm still going to do the best I can to have myself not be in contact with the void, if only to make sure that there's someone among us who isn't, just in case.
I agree. I don't think we should all be playing around with it. We don't understand it enough to know what it can do. There's no reason for all of us to just start feeling around blindly, I guess. But the professor has been more in contact with it than anyone else, and he's still himself. He hasn't started to talk about making all of us follow the Whisperer, and he's been the one who's also said we shouldn't do it either. So it doesn't seem like it's something that possesses you or takes you over.
I hope so. I hope that whatever malevolence is tied just to the Whisperer and not to the void as a whole.
Me too.
But like I said, so far, there's been nothing to point to whether or not what's been leaking through has just been the Whisperer's version of the void or the void itself.
You're not wrong. But if it's something that's from a plane of reality that's so very different from this one,
Yeah.
I don't know how it would react.
Which is
You
why
know?
I've been referring it to more as a disjunction or a displacement. It's alien to our reality and how it works, and as a result, the interactions seem to be agitation.
Do you think that any of what we read in the books today was true? Or at least might have been some sort of truth?
I certainly believe that there is this herald out and about, and I'm certain that what they're describing, the balance, is what it preaches to the followers. I have some trouble reconciling what it describes with what the void appears to be. I do believe
Well,
that destruction of the Cladis will absolutely undo some sort of seal related to the void, most likely related to the Whisperer. That seems attested by everything else we've learned.
I wonder if the two things are separate. Because the book we read today said that the Whisperer had been sealed away, which means that the void existed for it to be sealed away too. And the void, if the void has always existed, then the void itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that is. And if the Whisperer is there, that means it's a place to go. I mean, the book said it was a place of non-existence, but if that was true, then nothing could exist there, right? So maybe the Whisperer is the bad thing, but the void is not. But maybe the Whisperer is corrupting it somehow. Or vice versa, maybe.
If it's the only thing of substance, the only entity that resides in there, and a powerful one at that, it would more or less be the equivalent to having a single god controlling all aspects of creation here on our world. So
Unless it's not the only thing that's there. Jeffrey's here.
Jeffrey's here, but Jeffrey is a piece of void that the professor kind of consciously and then possibly subconsciously molded into form. And conversations with Jeffrey on the nature of his own existence have been disjointed.
That's true.
It's a data point, but one I don't know I can pull anything proper from. What it does interest me is we have the attestation of there being other worlds, and it seems like the void is sort of the space between that separates them, keeps them segregated. If the goal of our warlocks is to cast down the barriers so that Kurgalath can be a part of all of these worlds and almost certainly bring the void with it, it would be, well, Rakamir would get what she wanted. All the worlds would become one in a sense, but there would be no boundaries between anything that you'd be able to make sense of. It would be like water falling upwards into a pit of fire that leads to the reverse side of everywhere.
What if it wasn't, though?
I doubt either you or I would survive long enough to see it.
We don't know that for sure, though. We don't know what came before. If this Whisperer was actually imprisoned for whatever reason, I mean, What if it is a god of balance? But the void is not capable of holding it because there's nothing in the void. And so when it leaks out, it's leaking out in ways that can't really be maintained. If it is actually some sort of god that was sealed away or banished or something, and it gets free, that doesn't necessarily mean the void itself is free. If the void is just a place.
Not necessarily, but the pattern we've seen so far is more action by the followers of the Whisperer, more void.
Followers of Halo have done terrible things too.
And
Other ones haven't done terrible things. Maybe we've just met the void users who are doing the terrible ones.
then we've got some rotten luck, and we still need to stop them.
We do. I just don't want it to colour our actions against every single person. Or creature.
I assure you, I have left a lot of expectations behind on this journey. I'm taking in everything as I can.
I know you are. But don't hold it all in for yourself, either.
For your part, maybe try not to get lost into every single possibility of what may be.
I'll try. It's hard though. We just don't know so much. To not wonder if, you know.
I do know. And that's also why I can't stop. Not yet.
Do you feel a little better for talking about it?
I don't know.
It's okay. I don't know how I feel a lot of the time.
I think what I will do to relax a bit is I'm going to take some measurements of the boat, and just as a thought experiment, how big a balloon I would need to get enough lift for it to float.
Do you think that can be possible one day?
Naruto gives a shrug. I don't know, but I think it would be nice. So, I have the tools at hand. I'm going to take some measurements, write out some equations, and if I find out that I'm going to need enough animal hide to make a balloon 3 times the size of the boat, then I can talk myself into the practicalities of the idea. But
That was a lot of things that I didn't super understand, but I am glad that you have something that you enjoy doing.
rather than focusing on the possibilities of good and evil and success and failure and doom or rebirth, which is all beyond what I can do right now, I am going to focus on this much more pleasant dream that maybe one day I could actually make come true. I think
I
that's
think
what
if
I
you
do
put your
right
mind to it, you could. I look forward to seeing what you create next, Noriko.
And with that, Mariko will take a break from staring over the side of the railing and is going to grab some drafting paper and maybe slightly annoy the crew, or maybe they're used to it. She's going to start heading to various points in the rigging and start taking notes.
All right. Well, with that, the boat sails down the stream, and you slowly approach a village that is tucked in a bit of forest cover. You can see some humble buildings kind of rising from the ground, all made of wood, all sturdy, all very well put together. You can kind of see it's almost like it almost looks like a almost like the whole town almost kind of looks like a temple in the woods, the way it's constructed, the way some of the buildings are placed, and there's lots of greenery and flowers and gazing balls, and there are wishing wells scattered throughout. The boat kind of pulls into a small little alcove, which is just large enough for it to kind of fit inside, and the crew gets to work to mooring it down. Welcome all to Edmée.
Yeah.
The boat docks, lets down the gangway. In front of you is a dock with a path leading up to a larger building that is set up kind of in the center of this village. There is a sign prominently hung above the door that says the Starlight Tavern.
Wow, set up feet away from the dock. That is the most prime location I've ever seen.
Is this the place?
Yeah. Professor, you've been around here before. Why don't you lead the way?
Yeah, I lived here for a year. Sure, he'll.
Are you excited to
Yes.
see your acquaintances again?
Yes, of course. It's been a while. He walks, trying to look as casual as possible towards the tavern. He kind of pauses and flattens out the creases in his jacket and kind of fixes his hair a little bit and takes a long, deep breath in and lets it out real slow. Looks back at everyone, just kind of lets out a smile and steps in.
All right. The door opens easily. As you open the door, there is the soft sound of music playing. The rest of you can hear from outside the door. The smell of brewed beer, wine, mead kind of permeates through the air. It's very nice, nicely decorated dark wood. Around you, you will notice as you kind of make your way off the dock and into the tavern, there are mostly tieflings that are in this village, and they're kind of going about minding their own business. Some of them are farming, some of them are fishing, others are tending to their gardens as you see them outside. There's not a whole lot of people. There is kind of a light, not really crowd, but there's a light population that is definitely alive and vibrant around you. Professor goes to walk inside the tavern, or the rest of you following?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes, for sure. I don't think I've ever seen so many tieflings in one place before.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Starlight Tavern.
Oh,
Oh, man, are all
yeah.
these people here?
I mean, not all over there, but I like the art, so of course I had to put it in there.
Oh, yeah.
so cute. Yeah, Akadi and Edward are just hanging out.
So, heading inside the tavern, off to The back wall is a long bar that spreads across the entire length of the building. There are bar stools set up all around. There are tables and chairs in a big open space in front of you. Off to one corner is a little stage, and what you see are two teenage female tieflings. One with a lute, another with a drum, and it kind of sounds like a Cure cover band almost a little bit. Uh,
I don't know what that means.
I'm so sad.
uh,
Moody.
the tiefling playing the lute looks a little bit like this.
Oh,
Accompanying her on drums behind her, sitting in a chair, she looks a little bit like this.
so cute.
Behind the bar, you will see a familiar face to you, Professor. She is medium build, kind of average height, pinkish skin, long red hair. She's got horns that gracefully kind of curve up from her forehead. She is busy serving drinks at the bar. Accompanying her on her shoulder is a tiny orange pseudo dragon.
Yeah, Amber.
It's the girl.
It's the girl.
And Ember.
And she still looks exactly like that.
Of course she
All
does.
the other mothers in her sewing circle hate her.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. But she brings back the best shit from her travels, so they're just like, fine, we'll keep her.
So that is the scene that is set before you, Professor, as you walk inside.
You'll kind of like step in and hold the door open for everyone to file in. I mean, do I recognize the tieflings on stage?
Oh, yeah, you absolutely do. I will send you a message.
Okay.
I've never heard music like this before.
The professor will kind of point towards the bar and kind of say, that's Sephi over there. Jade, you might recognize her from your books. She's one of the Thorns.
Yeah. Oh, there was a whole painting of her in volume 2. Should I say hi? Are you going to go say hi? You should introduce us.
Oh, yeah, sure. He kind of waves a bit to the girls on stage, and he says, there, with the lute, that's Rory, and the one playing the drum, Cassie. That's Sepka and Sephi's daughters.
Can you spell those in the chat, please?
I'm turning on the nameplates right now.
Okay.
And Professor gives like a wave and heads towards the bar, and he says, still pushing drinks here, I see.
As you kind of wave to Rory and Cassie as they're playing, Rory just kind of like looks at you, and you can see her eye twitches a little bit. She's very, very deep, and she is very concentrating on what she's doing right now. Cassie, on the other hand, misses her beat and excitedly kind of like bounces a bit and waves to you from behind her. As you approach the bar, Sephi kind of turns around. She almost didn't see you walk in, and her smile brightens. She goes, "Professor!"
Hello, it's nice to see you. It's been a while.
I know. Where have you been? You don't call anymore.
I don't have the means to do that, and you know that. I've been.
You haven't learned yet.
No, And it might be even longer now. It's a long story. I've been to Uzera, and I've brought friends. And he gestures to everyone. This is the Mystic Mechanicus. That's Nariko and Albi, Yuki, Jade, Aura, and Ren. And that there, with the bronze doing this, kind of flaps with his hands like, that's Dave! Plays music, Calliope music. Can you imagine that? A plant that plays music.
Wow. You guys sure have seen a lot. I heard of the Mystic Mechanicus.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, you guys. Well, yeah, because fuck, why names? Uh, Fedwin called and told me about you guys.
Edwin called.
Uh huh.
Oh, good things, I hope. We didn't exactly leave Edwin in the best place.
He said you guys were doing your best.
He laughs nervously that a thorn of the black rose is like, you're trying. Good for you. Like, we certainly are. Wow, it's good to see you. Is Sepka around? And
Oh. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, Sepka. We have questions.
Sepka went to the Edmée forest a couple of days ago. He went to go visit a friend of ours.
Oh, are we expecting him back anytime soon?
Should be back any time now, honestly.
Oh, lovely. And what about Sicaria?
She kind of smirks a bit and she leans into you and she says, "Have you not seen her yet?"
He flushes a bit and kind of stands like bored straight. He's like, we literally just stepped off the boat. I kind of expected her to be here.
Oh, you came here first, huh?
I mean, it's on the way.
Very telling.
How so? I take it she's at the brewery.
She is.
I will check in with her promptly. But I thought we'd all convene here and get a drink, maybe figure out our next steps, find a place to sleep for the night. Hopefully talk to Sepka.
Sure, yeah. You can hang around for as long as you like. We'll bring you some drinks.
Lovely. Everybody, this is Sephi and Ember, her friend. It's not your familiar, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
She kind of smirks and she says, "He's mine now."
And
And has been for a while now, actually, because it's been so many years later.
Ember, and Pseudo Dragon, Sephi's familiar.
This is Ember.
Hi, I'm Jade. He already said that, but my name's Jade. It's really nice to meet you. I've read a lot of stories about you. Could you sign my book for me?
Sure. Welcome to the Starlight
Hey,
Tavern.
okay. Thank you. Jade will pull out volume 2 to have her sign it.
Sephi will sign it for you. What kind of drinks do you
I've read
guys
all
like?
your stories. Strawberry?
Do you like alcohol or no?
I have had alcohol the once.
It's
And
okay if
it
you don't
was
like
good?
it. I don't like it either.
Okay, do you have a strawberry drink that does not have the alcohol in it?
I do. It's actually one of Z's specialties. It's called Pink Adoration.
Oh,
And she...
is it pink?
It is, actually. She starts pouring out of
Oh.
the tap. She kind of slides one over to you. It is a non-alcoholic cotton candy strawberry cider.
The sugar
Adorable.
content terrifies me.
with strawberry covered in rock sugar.
Jade will happily drink it.
So, Sephi, happy to serve you guys as you guys decide to hang out, wait for Sepka. One thing you'll see is that once the song plays through that you guys heard as you entered the tavern, Rory kind of finishes up with a little bit of flourish, and Sephi behind the bar starts clapping, and she just calls out, "That was great, Rory! Good job!" She goes, "Ugh, Mom, stop embarrassing me!" See Cassie behind her just silently golf claps behind as they go to strike up another song. As you guys begin to settle in, the door flings open.
Oh god.
Who's going
Carrying
around flinging doors?
carrying a large, well, carrying or wheeling a kind of large barrel of something with her, you see a familiar figure enter the tavern. Also, would you like to give us an introduction, please?
I would love to. So, this is the new Z. So, Carrie that you know was very damaged, very broken, trying to find herself. She has been staying in Edmée with Sefka and Safi and the kids, and really forming this life for herself. So this Z is kind of come into her own as a beer master, as a brewmaster, as a friend, as a confidant, as a whole person. This is Z as she would have been had Riku not been a douchebag. Z is kind of not as you've known her. She is effervescent. She's happy. She's finally happy and at peace.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Do you
Oh,
think she'll sign my book?
Professor, for the love of God, do not find a way to ruin this.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
I'm just going to leave again on a potentially life-ending quest to save the world.
Why was the
Oh.
professor's eyes so red?
So yeah, Z would have bust in, and she would have said, Sephi, you keep selling out. I gotta keep bringing him back in, man. I don't know. The LCCT, man, that's going today. That's going.
Oh, it's such a bad problem to have, huh?
I will post momentarily as soon as I get into it. I will post the beers on tap. So these are what you find at the Starlight Tavern. Compliments of course, Z's Brewery, the only game in town. So she's gonna come in with a big. She's carrying it because she's still kind of a fucking beast. And she's gonna walk in and she's gonna put it down on the bar and look up and not realize when she was coming in that she's like 2 feet away from the professor, and she just freezes. And
He's just,
go.
the professor just like also freezes and slowly raises like his right hand and kind of wiggles his fingers at her, and then he says, "Hello, Zakaria."
She straightens up and just instant cute like anime, just slight blushy on like the tops of her cheeks. She's like, Professor, when did you get back? How are you here right now?
I'm here right now by way of boat, and he just kind of stumbles over his words, like, "Hi, it's nice to see you. It's been a while."
Of course, it's been a while. I can't wait to hear everything that you've done. I bet you've had so many adventures. I can't wait to hear all of them. I just, gosh, I'm just so glad you're here. And then she realizes that like other people are around that she doesn't know, and she's, hi, hey, hi, I'm Zakaria.
Hi, I'm Jade. You're Z from the books. Z. That's you. Could you sign my book?
Sure, I'd love to. Yeah, I am the Z from the Thorns, and she signs it. You'll notice previously when she would sign her name, it would literally be like a Zorro, like whatever, like bleh. But now there's like little flourishes. She actually signs her whole name in like beautiful, like Lucinda calligraphy gorgeousness.
Wow, your autograph is so pretty. You're the professor's special friend?
She's gonna kind of look at Professor and kind of look back at Jade, and she says, "You're very pretty as well. What are these little skulls? They're adorable. Have you seen my friend Lorelai? She would love them."
Oh, yeah, we actually met her not a long time ago.
Oh, she is. Lorelai is. Whew, she is. She looks at Steffi and just goes, Yeah, there's really no words to describe Lorelai. She is just a force of nature, right, Steffi?
That's true. And she'll kind of like sneak over to you, Z, and she picks up the brew that you've brought, kind of, and hoists it back behind the bar, gets it all set up.
Mm. You know, I never have found out yet what Fedwin thinks of the LCCT. Maybe one day I'll have to bring him some.
He doesn't come to visit either.
Oh, I am aware. Nobody comes to visit anymore.
Professor's visiting.
"Hello, I'm the professor. I'm visiting. I'm here."
Z again blushes. You see that like line of like blush, and she's like, yes, he is here. He's here. And all of you here, I haven't met the rest of you. Hi, I'm Z. Who are you? And she's gonna walk up to Naruto. Is Neville muted?
Sorry, I had to step away from the computer.
Oh, you're okay.
What happened?
Yuki just walked up to you and was like, she got flushy over Professor being there, and she's like, oh, he's here. Wait, there's a bunch of other people here. Who are you? Hi, I'm Z, and she's just gonna walk up to Naruto.
Naruto gives a little bow to Z and says, "Oh, hello, Miss Zakaria. My name is Naruto von Grutzner of the von Grutzner Company in Point Pleasant. I am here with the Mystic Mechanicus." She pulls out a business card.
Amazing.
For you. We were actually here on recommendation from Lorelai and from associates in Moonhaven to talk with Setka about some ancient magical texts that we have acquired. But also very pleasant to meet you. Heard a lot about the Thorns of the Black Rose. Always happy to meet fellow adventurers. I guess that's what we are now.
We have business cards. I think we're official now.
Z is looking at the business card and she's like, "You are absolutely official. Business cards make it official. That's a rule, right?"
I mean, there's licensing at the patent office and other. Yeah, no, it's official.
She'll tuck the card in her little pouch because she's keeping it. It's hers now. You can't have it back. And she's gonna
They're
say,
handed out to be kept, so
"Yeah."
you can contact us.
She's gonna say, "Well, so you have a you came to see Sefka to talk about something? What's happening?"
We have a scroll he's supposed to translate.
Oh, he's the best at that. But he does get a little long-winded sometimes. But yeah, no. He's not here right now, but he could absolutely yeah, he could definitely read whatever you have. He's very, very smart. Just don't tell him I said that. It will go to his head.
Okay.
So what have you been doing? What's been happening?
Oh, did you want us to leave you alone so that you and the professor could catch up?
I mean, I would hate to take you guys away from your adventuring. I know how important that is. I would love to hear what you've been doing though.
You may want to grab a seat in that case. It's a long story. Even though chronologically, it's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not even.
Amazing. Seats for everybody. What are we drinking? What are we drinking? What do you want? What are we drinking? She's gonna like get everybody's orders if they want to drink anything.
Let's see here. No. I guess Naruto will grab a Peerless Epoch.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna go, "Oh, that's she's gonna look at Professor and she's gonna go, "That's one of my newest. It's one of my favorites." And she'll like do the girl thing of like tuck her hair behind her ear.
I feel like we should let some.
Do the drinks have like stories attached to them? I mean, Lord Captain Commander. I just realized that's a reference to Fedman, and Lorelei is listed on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Peerless Epoch sounds nice. What was the inspiration for that one?
Just a time that was spent that has no peer, is second to none. A time that will always be my favorite time.
What time was that?
She's gonna like look under her lashes, as girls do, at the professor and say, "Oh, it was about a year, a little while ago." And the pink adoration, well, that's obvious. She's gonna gesture to Sephi and say, "The pinkest, most wonderful, adorable person I know."
Sephi kind of giggles a bit as she starts sliding the drinks over to your table, and she looks at Zakaria and Z. She's about to start some shit.
Oh no. Okay, so let's take our drinks. Let's go sit. Let's go. So she's gonna hand you guys all your drinks, and Z is going to, in her very sneaky kind of way, because she still is very sneaky. She is going to position herself and kind of just gently put her hand on the inside of the professor's arm. Say, "Come on, tell me where you've been. Tell me everything. I'm so glad you're here." Just quietly, just so that he hears and nobody else. As she like herds everybody to a bunch of tables so she can hear what you've been doing.
I feel like we should leave them alone.
I feel like I should stay close and be taking notes. It seems like she really knows what she's doing with this whole special friend business.
I don't know. She keeps like slow talking, and I can't really hear what she's saying. But then she touches his arm. Is that supposed to be what you're doing? Are we not doing that enough?
I mean, if the goal is to entice and to like get you to pay attention and like want you to like lean in closer to hear more, then I guess it's working. So maybe that's.
Are we all supposed to be paying attention?
I don't know.
As Z starts,
I already ordered the drink, so let's sit down and have it.
as Z starts to lead you away, you see Sephi kind of giggles and she says, "We have rooms, you know."
She shoots Sephi a look. Later, Sephi.
She smirks, goes back to tending the bar.
Did I just say how surreal it is to have Sephi be in the position of making that comment?
I know.
Right?
Right? Oh my god.
She got
Z
kicked out.
has so much energy now, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh
See
yeah,
what
it's
happens?
adorable.
Season all up in here.
I put so much thought into like where Z is at now and where she's been and what's been going on with her since everything.
Awesome.
She's happy. Z's
What
happy.
the fuck?
I
That's
know.
not supposed to happen.
I love how all of your characters that are happy are manic.
Elisa's a little more manic, but that's okay.
Sometimes they're repressing a little something under the manic, but it's fine.
It's fine. Just a little death. It's cool.
So as Z leads the party away from Sephi about to stir some shit, to a private little table set up for you guys. Drinks are passed around. We're at 11 o'clock, so it seems like might be a good time to break and pick up here next time.
Yeah.
Yay!
That amazing last half hour, guys.
Yay!
Definitely loving the flustered professor and the hypermanic Z.
She's happy. Z is finally happy. It's been a long time coming. Happy
I'm
Z.
going to take a guess that help from beyond is a reference to Edmée,
Oh
Yep.
yeah, hell yeah, that's Edward.
and
We
then
got
Clear Day
Edmund.
Flight is Pips. No worry there.
Yeah. Did you guys Google what Isinglass was?
No, not yet.
Google it. Have a great time.
What is it?
It's gonna be pornographic. It's sure. I'm sure.
It is not. It is not pornographic.
Oh, I see. That's clever. I vote roleplay award to Allie for that alone. The drink list.
Absolutely.
Along with Z's appearance as well. That's
Yeah, that was really good.
delightful.
Z is happy.
But I mean, also for just like the oh, it's fish bladder. Okay, that's funny.
Fish.
Also for Yuki. So you had a lot of good roleplay moments tonight, Allison.
I talked a lot tonight, guys.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
I gotta find more ways to interact with Ren.
Buddy comedy.
I know.
Just do something stupid. He's got something to say about it.
Okay, that is true.
Fair.
That's very true.
That will bring him over
Fair.
like nothing else.
Is our moral compass Ren? Is
Uh,
our safety supervisor Ren? Let me
Yes.
put it that way.
He's already died once.
Yeah.
Join the club.
Yeah, Red's probably the parent of the group.
Ren did not ask for this job, nor is he equipped for this job.
He's either the parent of the group or like the Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon of the group. I'm too old for this shit.
Danny Glover of the group.
He is too old
Definitely
for
the
this
Danny
shit.
Glover of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Sure.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with giving an inspiration to Allison for this one.
Yay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say professor.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's make it happen.
Everybody had really great moments tonight, but just the two of them interacting was just so fun. But also professor with Jeffrey and with
Jade.
trying to contact with talking with Jade, with trying to contact Lorelai, which is very professor.
Mhm.
with talking with Yuki as well. The professor had a lot of one-on-one moments tonight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Office hours are open.
That'll be $200 for the hour.
I would like to do a quick check-in though. Things got a little bit heavy on this session, and I want to make sure everyone's okay. You don't have to say so now. If you want to message me, please do so.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
I'm just tired.
Mhm.
It's all good. I get it. There were some heavy topics broached in roleplay tonight, and I just want to make sure that everybody is still okay. If
Yeah.
not, let me know. If changes need to be made, let me know.
Yes.
My DMs are open, and Rocket just
Close them.
unplugged my monitor.
He just closed them.
My DMs are open and the cat closed them. So
And they're gone.
fine. And we're done.
Well done, well done. What did we learn tonight?
Meet cutes can happen twice.
Steffi doesn't age.
Seffi doesn't
Nope.
age, does she?
No, she does not.
Got some definite blessings of Akadi there.
Yeah, they are.
They did it. The kids, Sepka and Seppi, they actually managed to have kids.
Yeah,
Oh
they did.
god, and they seem like well-adjusted children. Wild.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to them going on their own adventures.
Yeah, I think the real question was how much shit would the kids choose to get into?
A lot.
Yeah. We're
All of
kind of
it?
lucky that the time skip wasn't far enough that they have like just totally gone off a reservation at this point.
Yeah.
Mom, I met these really cool people. They really love this thing called the Whisper. I'm gonna hang out with them.
oh. Also that Ren gets seasick.
He's ripped all
Only
about
when
those
he rolls
apples.
right.
That was funny.
Only when he rolls.
Oh, was that what that was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had apple seeds that you were just throwing over the thing. I was like, why
No,
is
Ren tossed his
awesome?
apples.
I got it.
Ren's
I
like,
got it now. I'm not dumb.
how do you like
You're
them
not dumb.
apples?
They're pretty good apples.
I mean, the fish probably like him now.
Ew.
ABC.
I will also say Z naming all of her drinks. Major brother Edward approval from the end of
Yeah.
it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I thought long and hard about Z, about what she would make, about like how it would look. Like my inner bartender came out and I was like, okay, so these characteristics, they like this sort of stuff. Let's do a thing.
I gotta head out. You all have a wonderful
Okay.
night.
Hey, good
Thank
night.
you.
Good
Good night,
night.
everyone. Love you all.
Bye,
Love
everybody.
you.
Hey, good night.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Suzanne.
Suzanne.
Love you.
Oh, she's gone.
She's gone. She
Toodles.
bounced.
Let's get a sign off.
Penis.
Oh, I mean,
Someone's gonna get some later. What it feels
why
like.
mess with success? Penis?
Why mess with a successful penis?